We are just one day away from FPL and the Premier League returning, so in today's video I'm going to show you my updated Game Week 1 draft. I've been inundated with messages on my Instagram account asking how my team is shaping up ahead of tomorrow's deadline, so in today's video that's exactly what we're going to chat about. There has been some changes since my last video, so we're going to have a look at what players have made their way into my team and what could potentially change ahead of tomorrow's deadline. We're also going to have a look at which players are definitely locked into my team and what my chip strategy is for the season. We've lots to discuss. Let's get into the video. So before we get into today's video, as always, please give the video a like, and if you haven't done so already, please consider heading on down, click and subscribe on the channel. We are on the road to 10k subs. The aim is to get there before Christmas, so your support is greatly appreciated. If this is your first time coming across my channel, well, first off, welcome to the channel, but here on screen are some of my best FPL finishes over the years. I've got one top 9k, one top 11k finish, two top 16k finishes, so if you still haven't hit that subscribe button, I'm not sure what else I can do. It had to be done, but that's the promo out of the way. Let's get into my Game Week 1 team. So let's get straight into it. We're starting off with the keepers, and I've got my goalkeeping double up of Sanchez of Chelsea and Dubravka of Burnley. To be honest with you, I haven't changed these players in my team over the last week and a half, so I'm pretty set on these ahead of tomorrow's deadline. We're going to start off with Dubravka, a 4 million goalkeeper option, a 4 million plain goalkeeping option. What else could you ask for? An FPL manager's dream. Eddie Howe said he's not fully fit to start the season, but I do expect Dubravka to go straight into that Burnley team, and he's a perfect bench option for the season. And I'm also eyeing up a potential bench boost in Game Week 2 when Burnley face Sunderland at home. We then move on to my starting goalkeeper, Sanchez of Chelsea. The news broke at the start of the week with the fact Caldwell was going to miss the season with an ACL injury. That's not ideal as a Sanchez owner. Caldwell is arguably Chelsea's best defender, but I do think Sanchez and his Chelsea defence can perform well across the FPL season. If I'm looking at other 5 minute goalkeeping options, Sells of Nottingham Forest is another decent shout too, but you can see I've got Williams for some Forest defensive cover. Forest performing very well in pre-season, 5 clean sheets in 7 games. Performing well in defence, I must say, not in attack. Only 1 goal for Forest scored by Chris Wood across those 7 games. So slightly worrying on the attacking front, but they are performing well on the defensive front, which may want me to double up on the Forest defence. But for now, Sanchez is in there. I do want some Chelsea defensive cover. When you compare Sanchez to the likes of Cucurella priced at 6 million in the game, Sanchez 5 million. That's why he's in the team, as I do want some Chelsea defensive cover. So moving on to my back three, we're going to start off with Nico Williams of Nottingham Forest. We've already spoke about him, but I'm going to sell him to you a small bit more. Similar to that Sanchez situation at Chelsea, Williams offers a cheaper route into that Nottingham Forest defence when you compare him to the likes of Murillo and Mikulenkovic, priced at 5.5 million in the game compared to Williams' 5 million price tag. Looking at defensive contribution points, Williams ranked in the top 4 for wing backs for DEFCON points across last season, and with the way Nottingham Forest set up, you would expect him to get some DEFCON points across the season. And then looking at how Alanga exited for Newcastle, who's going to take some set pieces? I do think Williams is going to be on some set piece duty for Nottingham Forest, so that's an added bonus of some attacking threat. And looking at Nottingham Forest's fixtures to start the season, they've got Brentford, Burnley and Sunderland in their first 6, so you'd expect some clean sheets at the start for them. We then move on to my first major dilemma in my starting 11, which Liverpool defensive asset I'm going to have to start the season. For now, Van Dijk makes my team just on the basis of a security of minutes. I am strongly considering swapping out Van Dijk and bringing in Frimpong. Frimpong got his goal in the Community Shield at the weekend, albeit a jammy one from a cross, but they all have to go in somehow. Looking at Frimpong, his main competition is Conor Bradley, but Bradley doesn't seem to be fit to start the season. I just need to see what Slot says on Conor Bradley's fitness and see how many weeks or months he is going to be out for. Although from chatting to a few Liverpool supporters, even if Bradley was fit, Frimpong seems to be the first choice wing back for Liverpool. So decisions to be made before the deadline. It's not ideal. Well, sorry, Bournemouth at home. I'm expecting Liverpool to get a clean sheet in this one, but Arsenal and Newcastle in Game Week 2 and Game Week 3 aren't ideal fixtures for the chance of a clean sheet. But with Frimpong, if I do go Frimpong over Van Dijk, he offers it some attacking threat. But after from Game Week 4 onwards, I definitely want a Liverpool defensive asset. So I'm happy enough to start off a Liverpool asset and save me a transfer down the line. So finishing off my defence, this is where the fun starts with my 2 4.5 million options. Juve of West Ham and Dorgu of Manchester United. Looking at their form over their pre-season games, both have been very attacking for their respective clubs. Juve coming away with an assist and Dorgu coming away with a goal and an assist. Looking at how they rotate together, it's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Looking at the first game, I'm definitely going to play Juve away to Sunderland when Dorgu has Arsenal. Looking at Game Week 2, Juve has Chelsea, Dorgu has Fulham away, so I'm going to play Dorgu away to Fulham. It's not an ideal fixture, but it's definitely better than Juve's fixture against Chelsea. And then looking at Game Week 3, Dorgu at home to Burnley, this is a fixture I definitely want to attack, as this could easily be the chance of a differential haul for Dorgu in this game. Looking at these two, I'm definitely not locked in on these two 4.5 million options. Michael Keane has just emerged now as a potential 4.5 million defensive option for a cheap way into that Everton defence. Chris Richards of Crystal Palace is another shout. Anderson of Fulham. Decisions to be made before the deadline, but I've gone with the flair picks of Juve and Dorgu for now for my two 4.5 million picks. And then Esteve of Burnley completes my 5-man defence, eyeing up that potential bench boost in Game Week 2 when Esteve and Burnley has Sunderland at home. That's the defence out of the way. Let's move on to the midfield. So moving on to my 5-man midfield, you can see it significantly changed since my last video. 3 new signings in that midfield. Bruno, Anderson and Sarr all make their way into the team, and that means that Wirtz, Malen and Ndiaye all make way. We're going to start off with the 2 premium assets in Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. These 2 players have been in every single draft I made in pre-season, so they're pretty much guaranteed to be locked into my Game Week 1 team tomorrow. Starting off with Mo Salah, his pre-season form hasn't been the best. He has missed 2 penalties in Liverpool's last 2 games, and because of these penalty misses, and because of his premium price tag, there has been some FPL managers that are deciding not to go with Salah for Game Week 1. I think this is a mistake. FPL is not an enjoyable game when you don't own Mo Salah, and especially with that Game Week 1 game tomorrow night, Mo Salah has returned in every single Game Week 1 game he's played with Liverpool since joining them. So I'm predicting a haul. I'm expecting a haul. Liverpool under lights at Anfield on a Friday evening. Salah gets the armband for me. We then move on to Cole Palmer. He definitely didn't perform up to the standards that are expected of him in FPL last season, like he did in the previous season before that. Chelsea's run to start the season is pretty decent, to be fair. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham and Brentford for the Blues in the first opening 4 fixtures, and over these games I'm expecting Palmer to get at least 3 to 4 returns. If you don't own Salah, Palmer's a decent pick for the armband this week. Looking at Palmer, when I'm going to captain him, the first opening 10 fixtures, it's probably only going to be that Game Week 9 fixture against Sunderland. I have Bruno in the team for now. I'm probably eyeing up Bruno in that Game Week 3 fixture against Burnley at home. But I'm happy, even Palmer has that premium price tag. I'm happy enough to keep Palmer in the team, as he will get some consistent returns. So with those 2 premium midfielders out of the way, we then move on to my first major dilemma in this start 11, whether I'm going with Bruno Fernandes or whether I'm going with Florian Wirtz. I already have some Liverpool attacking cover in Mo Salah, so that's why I'm currently leaning towards Bruno Fernandes. He got 8 goals and 14 assists last season. With the new addition of the defensive contribution points, he would have gained an extra 22 points, so that would have taken his total FPL score last season to 196 points. I do think he can hit the 200 club this season. He's on penalties. I think he is going to be a monster with these DEFCON points. That's why he's in the team, and I'm also eyeing up him for the captaincy in Game Week 3 with that Burnley fixture at home. Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest is also a new addition to the team. I did have Donald Malen in my team on my last video if you did watch it, just on the basis of his pre-season form. 4 goals for Aston Villa over their pre-season games. However, he was named on the bench for Aston Villa in their last pre-season game, so I'm not that confident of some consistent starts for Malen to start the season. So that's why I've taken him out of the team, and that's why Anderson has come into the team for now. I'm not fully locked in on this 5.5 million spot. However, Anderson got 2 goals and 6 assists last season for Nottingham Forest. With Elanga out the door, you'd expect Anderson to be on set piece duty for Nottingham Forest. I do expect Nico Williams to take a few, but Anderson is going to be the main set piece taker for Nottingham Forest. And also with this new addition of the defensive contribution points, Anderson would have received an extra 36 points last season. That's an extra 12 assists, so he's going to tick along nicely throughout the season. He's in the team for now. I am looking at Reinders of Man City. He obviously impressed in 45 minutes for Man City, one of their pre-season games. 2 goals. It's hard to know with Pep Roulette. Is he going to start consistently for Man City? But if he does and gets off to a flyer, he could easily be 5.6, 7, 5.8 by Game Week 3, Game Week 4. I'm also tempted by Dewsbury Hall also. He has been playing in the number 10 position for Everton. He created 2 big chances in Everton's last pre-season game, so one to keep an eye on there. If I do go Dewsbury Hall, I could then even upgrade Sarr to Rodgers. Rodgers return to training this week, but for now, Anderson is in there as my 5.5 million pick. Sarr of Crystal Palace completes my 5-man midfield. He's just in the team on the basis of his current form. He's picked up a couple of assists in pre-season, and then he came away with a goal and an assist against Liverpool in the Community Shield last weekend. The fixtures for Crystal Palace to start the season aren't ideal. They don't shout out too much haul potential for Sarr. Chelsea, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, they're not the greatest fixtures for attacking returns. But from Game Week 4 onwards, I will be looking to have a Crystal Palace attacker in my team. Whether that's Eze, or if Eze goes towards Spurs, I could be looking towards getting Sarr. But he's in the team now on the basis that I can try and save a transfer if I do start off with him. However, with the fact that Rodgers is back in training, maybe I downgrade Anderson, get Dewsbury Hall into the team, and then I can upgrade Sarr to Rodgers with that 0.5 saved. But for now, Sarr's in the team. Ollie Watkins and João Pedro complete my starting 11, along with having Mark Gay on the bench to complete my 15-man squad. We're going to start off with Ollie Watkins. He's been an absolutely flying form for Aston Villa during their pre-season games. 5 goals and 5 pre-season games for the English striker. Looking at Aston Villa's fixtures at the start of the season, they have a decent run up until game week 7, and Watkins is at a lovely price point of being 9 million in the game, so he's the same price as Gyökeres of Arsenal, and it actually coincides when Villa's fixtures start to turn in game week 7 onwards. Well, no, they've Burnley at home in game week 7, but from game week 8, Arsenal fixtures take a turn for the better. So then in an ideal world, I can go from Watkins and Gyökeres in game week 7, game week 8. Let's see how he gets on. If Watkins starts off slowly and Gyökeres starts off lovely for Arsenal, I can just do the straight swap because he's at that nice price point. João Pedro is another man coming into the new season off the back of a fine pre-season for Chelsea. 4 goals in his last 5 games for the new Chelsea man, and that's why he's in my team, and that's why he's also owned by over 55% of managers in the game. He's higher owned than Mo Salah, which is an absolutely crazy stat, but that's why he's in the team on the basis of some ownership. I'm trying to stick close to the template, as I do expect João Pedro to start that Crystal Palace game. He will share some minutes with Delap. It looks like in pre-season, João Pedro's been subbed off around 60 to 70 minutes. If it seems frustrating starting off the season with João Pedro, if he is getting subbed off early in those Chelsea games, I can also look towards Mateta or Chris Wood, price around 7.5 million. But João Pedro's in the team for now, as I do expect him to start the season well. Sunderland's new signing, Mark Guéhi, completes my 15-man squad. Likewise with Dubravka, he's just a budget enabler I can keep on my bench and play him when necessary, or even on my bench boost in game week 2 if I decide to do go with that. I could even sub him in for whichever 5.5 million midfielder or 5 million midfielder I do go with and rotate them throughout the season. There's question marks around his fitness to start off the season, but I do expect him to be a regular starter for Sunderland, and at 4.5 million, there's no better options at that price, so that's why he's in the team and can save me money in the process. So that's how my GAMEWEEK1 team is shaping up ahead of tomorrow's deadline. Looking through this 15-man squad, there's probably 5 to 6 players that are definitely guaranteed to be locked into my team ahead of tomorrow's deadline. I think Sanchez is a cert, Nico Williams. I do want some Nottingham Forest offensive cover, so maybe I upgrade to the likes of Mikalenkovic or Murillo, but for now, Nico Williams is in there. So the question mark around him, whether he's going to be locked, but yeah, I want some Nottingham Forest defensive cover. Salah and Palmer are guaranteed to be locked. Watkins as well, along with Dubravka. So that's 5 to 6 players that are going to be locked in. So the rest I need to decide on the remaining 9 to 10 players. So do make sure you join me for my deadline stream tomorrow evening before the deadline. My brother is getting married on Saturday morning, and there's a pre-wedding dinner on Friday evening, and I'm missing half the dinner to make sure I get my YouTube deadline stream done. So please do join us for that deadline stream so I can make up for missing that half of the wedding dinner. But anyway, we'll worry about that once the deadline is over. If you haven't made it to the end of the video, please do give it a like, drop a comment below, and if you are new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are on the road to 10k subs, and with your support we can get there this season. That's my GAMEWEEK1 team for tomorrow. Plenty to be discussed on tomorrow's deadline stream. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.